Hello and welcome to this episode of the Weak Forms series. Today we're focusing on the word has. So as always in these videos we'll look at the strong form first. The strong form has that a vowel in it, which is familiar to you from many English words I'm sure, such as the word cat. So it's that a. Has. Now, a couple of things to note about this word. First of all, you can see there that when we write the word, we spell it with an S, but it's actually pronounced with a voiced Z sound, has. So we don't say has, it's has. And the reason for that is that we've got this vibration happening in the throat because of the vowel a, and so that kind of influences the consonant that comes afterwards, has. Now, this is a word which many native speakers will miss the H sound from, myself included, particularly when I'm not thinking in a very informal context. You're definitely going to hear plenty of native speakers say as instead of has. If you're trying to be more formal, if you're trying to be more correct, make sure you get that h sound at the beginning. But if you're hearing people pronouncing as instead of has, what you're seeing, or what you're hearing rather, is a very native speaker usage of this word. But if you're trying to sound super correct, then make sure you get that H in there, has. So thinking about the weak form then, as usual, we're going to need this schwa sound, this schwa vowel, which is nice and weak. Relax the tongue in the mouth, There shouldn't be any tension there really, it's just a soft And so when we put that into the word has, and we change the a for a schwa, it becomes huz. And as I mentioned before, you'll hear many people dropping the H. So huz can be heard as us. She has done something, rather than she has or has done something. So huz with the h, and without the h, us. As with before, I mentioned that you can sound more formal by keeping the H. So my recommendation would be to try and pronounce this word with the h. So you're letting a little bit of air puff out of the mouth. Huz. So repeat after me. The strong form first, has, and the weak form, huz. So hopefully you can hear the difference there. What we're going to do now is look at a couple of examples to think about when you might choose the weak or the strong form. So, example 1 then. Has she finished work yet? Now, hopefully you heard the sound huz with the schwa there. Has she finished work yet? This is just a straightforward question. The has or huz is functioning as part of the grammar of that sentence. So we've got a present perfect construction here. Has she finished work yet? Right now. So that's what the function of that word is. And because it's just part of the grammar of the sentence, and I'm not giving it any particular stress, it could be weak. Equally, you could pronounce it more strongly, particularly, like I said, if you're wanting to sound more formal. Has she finished work yet? That would be completely fine. But you're also going to hear plenty of people going weak with this kind of construction. However, with sentence number 2, you can see I've written it in uppercase there, because here maybe the context is we are thinking about hiring an employee, and maybe we're undecided, is she suitable for the company? And I might say, she has got an excellent academic record. So I would emphasize has by using the strong form, and that shows you when I say has, she has got an excellent academic record. I'm giving emphasis to that has, So that here would show that I'm trying to convince you. I'm underlining the presence of this excellent academic record. So they're just two examples of where we can think about using weak versus strong. So the essence that you can take away here is that both forms are absolutely fine and correct. That's the first thing. Sometimes people get a misconception that the weak forms are wrong or too informal. That's not a helpful way to think about this at all. They're a very important part of the language. So if you're trying to be very formal, you might opt for more strong forms. In fluent and natural everyday speech, plenty of people go weak, and you've got that option to really emphasize a point by going strong, like in sentence number 2. So your task, I think, is twofold with this information. First thing, it's good to practice has, has. So maybe drill yourself a little between the two sounds so that you can feel the difference. And then the second task is to go out into the world and try and hear the distinction. That could be movies, podcasts, or native speaker friends that you've got. Try and listen out, because let's face it, this is a very common verb. The verb to have is one of the most common verbs in the English language. So you're going to get plenty of opportunity to hear people using this verb. So go out there and practice. The more listening, the more focused listening you do, the more familiar you will become, and you'll hopefully develop some kind of intuition as to when it's good to use the strong versus the weak form. So I hope you found that useful. If you did, go ahead and hit like and subscribe if you want to stay up to date. If you've got any comments or questions, or if you notice people using these different forms and you're excited that you're suddenly noticing it, leave me a comment below. It's always good to get some feedback. Thanks very much for watching, and have a lovely day.